Today's history video is based on a wonderful new book called The Quartet by Joseph Ellis. It's not about music. It's about the framing of our Constitution. And he begins by making the fundamental point that it was truly the Second American Revolution. The first one in 1776 was about independence from Britain. But the second one in 1787 wasn't just about the Constitution. It was about merging 13 sovereign nations, the colonies, into one coherent United States and surrendering a great deal of their authority to a federal government. And when you think about it, how much blood and turmoil it took Bismarck to unite Germany, or Garibaldi to unite Italy, or the war between Britain and the Irish and Britain and Scotland to forge the United Kingdom. You really put in awe the concept of a nation that came together peacefully, without violence, after the colonial power was thrown out, and set up as durable a structure as they did. But there were two insights that come to me from the Joseph Ellis book that I think are absolutely fascinating. The first one is the concept of filtration, which is a word I'd never heard before in connection with the Constitution. But it's a word that was used by Madison and Jefferson. And it says that popular will is so transient, so subject to demagoguery, so mobile, facile and unreliable, that you have to filter it through various layers of representative democracy to ultimately have a government that is ultimately responsive to the popular will, but not determined by every bit of change or inflection in the popular will. And the concept of filtration was the voters elect the state legislatures, who elect the Senate, who are offset by the Congress, and the electors, who are chosen by the voters, who then elect a president. And they saw filtration as the key to mediating between the desire for popular sovereignty on the one hand and resistance to demagoguery on the other. The concept of filtration has largely gone away in the United States. We directly elect our senators now and directly elect the president. But it is still the fundamental ethos of the European Union, where you vote for a party in your country. The party then nominates the candidates for the parliament. The parliament then votes for the prime minister. The prime minister then sits on the Council of Europe and determines the policies of the continent. Again, the concept of filtration based on a distrust of democracy for an organization that is spiritually headed by Germany that hasn't had a very good experience with democracy. The other concept is that the ambiguity that is built into the Constitution. In the debate between those who say we should follow the original intent of the framers and those who say the Constitution is a living document that has to be interpreted in light of modern times, this is definitely score one for those who said it has to be interpreted for modern times, because he produces a lot of evidence from Madison, particularly, and Hamilton, that indicate that they regarded the Constitution as really setting up a playing field for competition between ongoing forces, rather than laying out a diktat of what rules would be followed by the government. So in the push-pull of sovereignty, Madison and Hamilton both wanted a clear declaration of federal sovereignty over the states. But the states resisted that. And as a result, a compromise ensued, where certain powers are allocated to the feds, and the 9th and 10th Amendment allocated the others that were not enumerated to the people and to the states. Now that's precisely the battlefield over which we're fighting in most of the issues that are confronting us, including Obamacare, coming up before the court probably this week, they'll rule. And it's so interesting that this was not something where the Constitution says one thing, but then we interpret it, to one in which the Constitution deliberately leaves fields unfilled in and lets there be a push-pull and dynamic between contending forces in light of future developments to come up with a more perfect union. A fascinating insight. So get a hold of this book. It's called The Quartet by Joseph Ellis. Thanks for watching.